Hello and welcome to Kansas for race 17 of 20 in the Verizon NASCAR Cup Series. For the next in the last races of the championship. Entering this race, Kevin Harvick has a almost 79, it was a 79 point buffer on second place. There's the command to start the engines. Harvick has a 79 points gap on Kligerman, second place Kligerman entering this race. So let's have a look at your starting lineup. Starting on the pole for today's race is the 41 of Daniel Suarez. To his outside is the 00 of Landon Cassill. Starting third is Matt DiBenedetto, and fourth is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Fifth, Buescher. 6th, Almirola. 7th is Keselowski. 8th is Johnson. 9th is Truex. And 10th is championship leader Harvick. 11th, Ragan. 12th, Hamlin. 13th is Jones. 14th is Blaney. 15th, Bowman. 16th, Elliott. 17th is Bowyer. 18th is Byron. 19th is Kligerman. And rounding out the field in 20th is Kyle Larson. Kansas is normally a crazy one. We saw it definitely was in the early season race. The one in the first, 5 races of the season. That race was quite chaotic. We saw a lot of 3-wide action and 4-wide action. There's a lot of chaotic races at the end of this season. Anyways, pace car going to peel off. Into the restart zone we go. And green flag at Kansas. We are racing for the Sensodyne 400. As we round off turn 2, not a good start for the 00 of Landon Cassill, who drops back onto the outside, falling outside the top 5. They're 4 wide. Cassill grabs the wall. And a terrible start for the 00 of Landon Cassill, who qualified second and is going to end up in last on the first lap. And they are 3 wide, and leading lap 1 is going to be Chris Buescher, and they're 4 wide again coming off turn 2. Everybody seems to get situated as they go off into turn 3. Ooh, Johnson's going to get the wall now as well. A lot of guys going 3 and 4 wide. Ooh, Kligerman sideways. Championship leaders all over the place. Bowyer up towards the front in the middle of that 3 wide action. And honestly, it's probably a privilege for those guys to be stuck back there towards the back. Contact! Harvick, championship leader, sideways. He saves it. What a save by the Ford to not get anybody else involved. And Larson sideways on the apron. Everybody stacking up. Almirola brushes the wall, as does Jones, I think. And they're still all over the place. Kligerman leads that lap. What a chaotic way to start this race. Excuse me. As they come off of turn number 2, 3 and 4 wide again. This race has had a ridiculous start. Kligerman championship contender up in the wall. Whoa, Buescher sideways. What a save by Buescher as well. This is madness. How have they not had any cautions or wrecks yet? They're probably going to have one quite soon, as that's the tradition of Kansas. Here they come off turn 2. 4 wide for the lead. This is insanity. Here comes Suarez, pole sitter to the inside. Buescher in the wall. Here comes Stenhouse now. Suarez going to come home to lead that lap. This is crazy. They somehow all saved it, but they're 4 wide going in turn 1. That's not going to work. Around goes Hamlin. Harvick, championship contender involved. Truex, 2-time race winner recently involved as well. Hamlin goes for a spin. First caution of the day happens to be not that big of a crash. And as they go into turn number 3, Suarez leading, but here comes Stenhouse. Side by side, coming to the stripe. Stenhouse got it, I think. Stenhouse, by less than 100th of a second, leads that lap. And let's get a look at what caused the first caution of the day here today at Kansas. So obviously 4 wide coming off the trial wasn't going to work, but Harvick wasn't giving Hamlin much room. Hamlin didn't realize he was up there and just makes contact. Hamlin goes for a spin, gets involved. Byron gets involved as well. Good save by him to keep it straight. Harvick with a little bit of damage. Kligerman with some crazy wreck avoidance makes up a bunch of spots. And let's get a look at the onboard of Denny Hamlin, the main guy who ended up resulting in that caution. Let's have a look. And let's also have a look at Aric Jones, who barely squeaked through that wreck. He did take some damage, but a good job getting away from that one. So look at the race. Pit stops have occurred, and let's have a look at what happened for that. Because we did have some pit stops under caution, so let's get a look. Down into pit road they go. Suarez leads them over Stenhouse. I thought Stenhouse had the lead under caution. I guess not. As they pull into their stalls, here they come. Suarez pulls into his. It's going to be, what is the call for Suarez? 2 tires for the 41 car. Blaney back there. I think Blaney might have taken fuel only. And Blaney is going to come out of pit road on top. A couple guys look like they took 2 tires. Suarez comes out of his stall. And Castle took a bit of time on that pit stop. Bad news for Castle. And that is how that pit stop went, so your top 5 off pit road, Ryan Blaney with the 2-tire call. I think that's what he took. He either took 2 tires or fuel only. Comes out in first. In second is Suarez. Third is Bowman. Fourth is Stenhouse. And fifth is Brad Keselowski. So as we prepare to go green, no extra issues under caution. No DNFs either. Everybody manages to stay in the race. And Hamlin is fed. All of these guys, he did not actually have that much damage sustained after getting repairs, although Hamlin does have a big chunk of left side damage. Pace car off the racing surface. Into the restart zone. And green. Suarez with a pretty good restart, but nowhere to go with that run. He tried to pull high, but it just not enough momentum. But now he's going to go look low into turn number 1. Looks like that 2-tire call might have not been the best idea for Ryan Blaney. He gets stuck on the high side. They're already 3 wide for second down the backstretch. Make that 4 wide for second. Contact between Blaney and Bowman. Blaney keeps it off the wall. Keselowski, ooh, sideways off the bumper of Elliott. But he's going to hold on and go for the race lead. Suarez leads over Keselowski. Over Elliott. Ooh, this doesn't look too good. Here they come off the corner. 3 wide for the lead. As they go down the back. Can Keselowski clear down? Oh, no, he can't. He's not quite clear of the 9 of Elliott. Here comes Chase Elliott to the inside. With the lead at the stripe. Ragan was there, but Elliott managed to shut the door. 3 and 4 wide in the midfield. Suarez dropping positions fast. Now I want to see, Hamlin is indeed off pace, but the one that's off pace the most is Truex. And championship leader Harvick is also majorly off the pace. And sideways! Can Bowyer save it? In the grass! Contact! They're all wrecking! Huge crash! Up and over goes Almirola! Big collection on the front stretch! Bowyer gets hooked into the grass and cannot slow it down in time. Stenhouse involved. Blaney takes a late hit. Insanity! Ragan with the lead. And that is Byron in second. And championship contender Kligerman, who definitely wanted to be up front and get through the wrecks, gets through his second wreck of the day and ends up in third. And there is a smoke screen on the front stretch. Keselowski with heavy damage, as well as many others. Harvick and Bowyer both with heavy damage to the front ends. And that is going to end the day of a lot of people. I'm not going to do a transition, because we don't exactly need it. So let's get a look at how the wreck started. So they came off turn 4. Yeah, this obviously just... all of the action that they were pulling wasn't going to last, and Bowyer eventually got hooked by Buescher coming off the corner. Buescher continued to keep his foot in it. Bowyer trying to save it. Was he slowing down? Yeah, he was trying to brake, but he just couldn't slow down in time, and everybody gets involved. Big hits all around. Almirola gets popped up in the air. Keselowski up in the air as well. Harvick with nowhere to go. Blaney spinning. Blaney could have gotten through that, but I think he just hit somebody late in the wreck. What happened to the 12? He tried to go low, but those guys were spinning down the racetrack, and he was already committed. Took a pretty decently sized hit. Suarez involved, the pole sitter. Just tons of junk on the backstretch. Or not the backstretch, but rather the front stretch. And tons of cars are out of the race after that. Almirola is out of it, as is Keselowski. Bowman is out. Stenhouse, Buescher. Blaney ends up out of it. Suarez is out of the race. Many others are also have a lot of damage. Harvick and Bowyer are still on the track. Kligerman is one of only just a couple cars that doesn't have any damage. So, we'll accelerate just a little bit. Not green that time, gonna be green this time. So, we have, let's see. 7 cars are DNF'd, and 2 more of them are lap cars, being Bowyer and Harvick. Not a good day for Stewart-Haas. All of their cars are either a lap down or out of the race. Anyways, pace car off. In the restart zone, we are green and racing once again at Kansas. You can see just how much Harvick and Bowyer are off the pace. A lot of these guys have damage and are going to be off the pace. So many of them are. As they go down the back. Ragan is one of these championship possible guys. Byron probably isn't. But Kligerman and Ragan are. 16 more laps. Four wide for the lead, even when there's only 4 of them in the front pack. Most of these guys are off pace, except for just a couple of them. 4 cars left in the front pack, but Truex seems like he could potentially have the pace to keep up. Elliott might as well. And because these guys are spending so much time 2 and 3 wide, that means that Truex has a decent chance of catching. Ooh, Ragan with a dangerous position. Whoa, they saved it. That could have just taken out all of the rest of the guys that had a chance at winning this race. 3 wide for second behind Johnson. There are a lot of cars that are multiple tens of miles an hour off the pace. Almirola, who was one of the championship possible contenders, is now out as well. He was 4th in the standings, I think. Ooh, Ragan gets into Johnson off 4. They save it. Ragan got out of the gas. Smart move. It's just a shame that they didn't know how to do that when they were all one pack. Kligerman is a little bit off the pace. Just a little bit. Now he's catching down the back, though. He was just slow in the corner, and they're side by side for the lead. Johnson stuck up high. Ragan down low. Byron on the inside as well. Hold on a moment. I do not believe Byron has not won a race this season. He is currently winless. Ragan did win a race. He won race number 9. Johnson, I believe, has... Let's see. Johnson won race 12. And obviously, Kligerman has a couple wins in race 11 and race 8. And here is lap traffic. Splits the middle. Goes Byron and Ragan. Kligerman losing a lot of time. Johnson stuck behind as well. Harvick was one of those lapped cars that screwed over Kligerman. That's quite a low move by Harvick to keep his foot in the ring. But both Kligerman and Johnson are probably going to catch this pack. Since these two are side by side. Truex is still stuck battling with Elliott, so he's just losing time. Another lap car in the form of Bowyer. Contact! He gets into Ragan. And that is some damage on the 38. Is he going to have to pit? He brushed fenders with the 14. Kligerman and Johnson are now together, but they're going side by side. That's not what they want if they're going to catch this front pack. The battle for 5th place is definitely on, though. These guys aren't fighting for nothing. There is still a lot of points involved. And Truex gets held up. The 19 gets blocked by the 14. I'm surprised he didn't try to wreck him. And Hamlin in the way of Ragan. Multiple lap cars are getting in the way of this race with only a couple laps left. And Kligerman gets stuck behind as well. 9 cars left on the lead lap. The leaders are going to go side by side again. Teammates Byron and Johnson. Ragan there in 3rd, and in 4th is Kligerman. Kligerman is also probably catching these guys since they're spending so much time side by side. Ragan up into 2nd. Going for more. To the inside of Johnson for the lead with 6 to go. Will we see another one of those photo finishes today at Kansas? Five laps to go. Kligerman is caught back up. The battle for the win is on. 4 cars to decide who wins. Johnson way up the racetrack. Not an optimal line. He got really loose entering. Managed to save it, but he's going to lose a big chunk of time. Lap traffic. Byron trying to use him to his advantage, but ends up screwing himself over. Kligerman around the outside. Johnson trying to go high as well. Byron gets past. Kligerman up into second. Ragan continuing to lead. Three more laps to settle it at Kansas between these four guys that have been up front for the most of the latter half of this race. Two laps to go. Johnson and Kligerman side by side for second. Can Ragan pull away? Johnson seems fast, though. He's got a run. Not quite much of a run, though. I think Ragan might have a pull from the lap cars ahead. Will those lap cars be in the way? One more time around Kansas for David Ragan. White flag in the air. And it looks like, once again, the winless driver of Byron is going to lose out. But here comes a lap car in the way of both the leaders. Johnson and Kligerman go low. Ragan loses the lead. Can Johnson hang on? I think he will. Jimmie Johnson, who was 5th in points entering this race, is going to go from second to first thanks to lap traffic on the last lap to win it at Kansas. Kligerman in second, Ragan third, Byron fourth, and the battle for fifth. Truex wins out on that one. So the next race for race 18 of 20 will be at Talladega for the State Farm 400. And looking at the standings entering this race, literally anything could probably happen because all of these top guys are pretty close with only a couple races left. Although Johnson is outside of the max amount of points he could gain on Harvick entering Talladega, but he could still maybe make a gain after that win at Kansas. He moves up into third with that one. And let's look at... So all of these guys that are back there in third, or second, third, and fourth all have 2 wins. Harvick is the only one with only 1. The only reason he's up there is just because he's been a lot more consistent with more top 10s. Harvick will end up holding the points lead barely after a poor result at Kansas by 28 points over second place Kligerman. So it's most likely that if Harvick gets in a wreck and Kligerman doesn't, Kligerman could probably take the points lead away. Kligerman is trying to get one of those, is trying to have a Denny Hamlin Season 1 type season, where he ends up last in points at some point and manages to resurge late in the season. Anyways, looking at the bottom 3, we got Stenhouse, Larson, and DiBenedetto, all those main guys that have been there for a long time. And Bowman is also down there, thanks to another poor result at Kansas, getting involved in that huge wreck. So that'll do it for Kansas. We'll see you guys next time for race 18 at Talladega. That one's definitely going to be a wild one to follow up, an already wild one at Kansas. So see you there. Have a good one.